I now recognize Ms. Torres from California for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to our witnesses for being here today. I know that some of you, it's not your first time here, and just like last year, it's important to put on the record yet again the concerning actions taken by a witness testifying before us today, Mr. Adams. Chairwoman, I ask for unanimous consent to submit to the record 2 articles, an NBC News article titled Vote Fraud Crusader J. Christian Adams Sparks Outrage, and an ABC News article titled Americans Accused of Non-Citizen Voter Fraud Face Doxxing and Intimidation.
Without objection, so ordered.
In 2016 and 2017, the Public Interest Legal Foundation, a right-wing group known for suing states to delete voters off of their election rolls and making false claims of voter fraud, of which Mr. Adams is the president, published a 2-part report titled Alien Invasion that, among other things, falsely accused American citizens of felony voting fraud. Additionally, Mr. Adams' organization shamefully published the names, addresses, phone numbers, and in some cases, social security numbers of those he falsely accused, doxing law-abiding American citizens and threatening their privacy and security for the simple act of choosing their representatives. And as a result, a group of Virginia voters sued the organization, forcing Mr. Adams and his organization to apologize in the settlement. Chairwoman, I ask unanimous consent to submit an article from Law and Crime titled Former Trump Voting Commission Official Forced to Apologize for Falsely Accusing People of Voter Fraud.
Without objection, so ordered.
Court documents also show that Mr. Adams' organization had emails where election officials raised concerns about how the records misrepresent information, yet the organization led by Mr. Adams still went ahead and published the report that falsely accused Americans of committing voter fraud and listed out names, addresses, and social security numbers. These reckless actions and the ones before make it clear to me that Mr. Adams and some of the Republican witnesses here today are not here to ensure that our elections run fairly, but rather to make sure that elections favor one party, the Republican Party. Time and time again, we see this play out, from President Trump and my colleagues across the aisle pushing misinformation when it comes to election results and voter fraud. These actions have one goal: to sow distrust in our election system, to suppress the vote, and to make it harder for Americans to have their voices heard. Non-citizen voting is extremely rare, and it is already outlawed. But do you know what makes people question our elections? It isn't how the voter rolls are administered. It is President Trump, organizations run by those like Mr. Adams, and the Republican Party pushing lies after lies after lies about voter fraud and election results. We saw that in the 2020 election, in the violent January 6th insurrection, which happened because the president denied the results of an election. We're seeing it this year again, where Republicans tried to throw out 60,000 votes to overturn the North Carolina Supreme Court race they lost. It took nearly half a year for the Republican candidate to concede. They forced many eligible American voters like Ms. Haling, who is testifying here today, to jump through hoop after hoop to make sure her vote was counted. After the results didn't go their way, the Trump weaponized DOJ sued North Carolina, and now Ms. Haling and 200,000 people in her state are at risk of not being able to vote. And last month, they sued Orange County, California, over voter records. It is not a surprise that these are all areas that had competitive elections. This is happening while Trump is forcing Texas Republicans to redraw congressional maps so that he can try to maintain power and steal another election. At the same time, Trump's illegal voting plan and the Republican SAVE Act will create huge burdens for every American, including nearly 70 million women who, like me, chose their husband's last name. It makes it harder for service members who are trying to vote overseas, and I yield back.